I'm gonna make a DRD from Farscape. It's gonna be... Who is... Oh, it's the Broken Nerd. And what's that, a red Stormtrooper helmet? Oh, no. Today I'm gonna make a Sith Trooper helmet on Jake builds.
Alright, I'm all set to do a Farscape.
We're not doing that anymore.
But I've just perfected my Australian accent.
Have you, though? Wait up! Okay, so despite that intro, I actually do enjoy making Star Wars helmets. I was just all excited to do something new. But once the helmet dome is built, we're heading into uncharted territory, so just gotta power through. Oh, I've done this 10,000 times in other videos, so check those out if this isn't clear enough. So this is what I found in the way of Stormtrooper templates. So I'm having to reverse engineer new templates for this one based on what I can see in my old videos, as well as the subtle differences that they put in this one. Still using cereal boxes. Cheerios, please sponsor me. I'm gonna be mixing this thicker EVA foam with this, the thinner craft foam. I recommend that you guys use this thin craft foam, but you'll have to make a template that specifically fits your head. See, these, I'm gonna call them leaves, are just a little bit too big for a sheet this size. But if you were to cut them in the shape of leaves, you know, like banana peels, let's say if you can follow the path of my fingers like that, then they'll fit horizontally. Okay, so this is just, I want to say 2 inches longer than the width of a sheet of EVA foam. It shouldn't be, but they're actually like a little bit shorter than advertised because they have to include that puzzle piece thing. So ideally you would tack this down. I'm not doing that. Not that there's anything wrong with this. I'm just trying to get this done quickly. And you guys will see the results and go, nah, I think I'm gonna spend, 30 more seconds on this aspect or that aspect and make sure I get it right. Also, no registration marks because I did not pull this template from a solid 3-dimensional thing. I just sort of was like, yeah, it looks right. And I think I mentioned it, but I essentially watched my own video. I'm gonna start this with the scissors, just because it will make my life easier, and I think this is going to get covered up. I mean, ideally you would get red foam that is actually red and not pink or orange, and then you wouldn't have to paint or anything, and I love it when that falls into place, but it doesn't. So this, it's either going to be covered with, why am I showing you the offcut? Come on, Jake, get it together. This is going to be covered with thin craft foam or red Plastidip. And I've lost another battery. And now you have a perfect view of my broken watch band. I gotta sharpen that more. Yeah, look at that. And you can see like where the knife is starting to dull out there. Yeah, that'll have to, I could run that on my belt sander, but it's hot. There's so many diseases. Yes, I am a Jumanji fan. But no, literally, it's very hot in the room where the sander is. So I'm gonna use my rotary tool. I'm gonna say rotary tool until Dremel pays me. Oh no, I just said it. Oh shoot! You know what I did forget? My safety mask. Safety mask? My dust mask. Well, it is a safety mask. I'm still forgetting it. Come on, Jake, get it together. Because you'll breathe that stuff in, you'll think, oh no, that's not so bad. But then you'll sneeze the next day and see the gray-black blood and be like, oh boy. And that's how he died. I heat formed that with my heat gun. Oh man, who wants to watch Jake apply contact cement? Is there anything new that I can say about this? I feel like I go over the safety concerns and application process of this stuff in every video where I use it, which admittedly is like half of my videos, so that seam coming up. That's something where normally I'd have to apply filler later because that seam's delaminating a bit. But I think all of the seams are going to get covered up with craft foam. Yeah, I might luck out in that I won't have to wait for filler to dry before I paint it. Maybe. I promise that's wood under there. Oh, somebody's texting me! Somebody's, only when I'm doing contact cement is somebody texting me. Oh boy. Of course. I should just do a super cut of all the times people have texted me while contact cementing, but then I'd have to go through like years of footage. Oh boy. Oh boy. See, there's actually like a really awkward place for me to be doing this because there's a bunch of hanging saws just off camera. Oh, and in addition to the hanging saws, yep, that's too much on that little spot right there. Put it back. This is the EVA foam back. So now you get to watch me fumble around with this because these are always the most awkward shapes. God, if I just had something to prop it up. Maybe that's what 1, 2, 3 blocks are for. Oh boy, I got an itch. Oh yeah. Am I even in frame? Yeah, I went to film school. Can do it. Okay, so it's stuck on there to the point where it's not going to get unstuck. This is not my best seam I've ever done because I'm over here on this side. I'm a little bit, inside right there. And you can fix that by sanding, but I'm not gonna because I'm just gonna cover that up with craft foam. Kind of looks like an orc helmet. Let's do some Lord of the Rings stuff. I used an angle cutter to fold in the edges of the brim that would eventually form the frame of the goggles. Lenses. Whatever. That's not totally necessary. I was just testing out a new tool because it's a new tool. Thanks, patrons. Then I carved the mandibles out of yellow. This is gonna look so ridiculous until it's painted. They do make red craft foam. It was gonna take too long to ship, and 4 different craft supply stores either didn't stock it or were out of stock. Hashtag maker problems. I cleaned those up in the belt sander, cemented them onto the helmet, and moved on. To cover the helmet, I'm using a red roll of 2mm craft foam, which I've only ever found at this one little non-chain, hole-in-the-wall looking, kinda out-of-the-way hobby shop. But I've never even thought to Google it, so you probably find it online. I cut a strip of that for the top of the helmet that was long enough to fold onto the back of the brim, as well as 2 brow straps. I also made this top of the chin part to connect the 2 mandibles together and temporarily taped it together. That's just because once it's attached to the helmet, the mandibles are going to try and pull it apart, so I need a little bit extra support on that while the glue's drying. I contact cemented all of the parts together, and there we have the beginnings of a Stormtrooper helmet. So that's like the frame of the face, starting to be recognized. It's a little lopsided right now. I don't know if you can see that, but this is over about half an inch. But I measured it, and from here to here, like these mandibles are exactly the same. So I'm wondering if this is off just a little bit. Taking the tape off because, oh god. Well, actually, I'm okay right there because that's going to be obscured. But yeah, I guess the lesson there is be careful. I really lucked out on that one. But this one's closer to the front. I think still technically obscured. So I can just smoosh it back into place because it's literally there. Now it's even. But I'm turning around to mark where I'm going to put this thing, and I'm realizing that it's not too long on this side. It's too long right there on that. That's the mark that I didn't cut far in enough. Follow your own instructions, Jake. So like that's pushing it out just too far. So I'm gonna have to cut that and re-glue it and come back to it after lunch. It's so ridiculous because it's literally just a sliver that I have to cut out. I'm using 1/4-inch craft foam for the faceplate solely because it gives me more room on the interior of the helmet for my face than the regular floor mat foam. I hot glued that to the interior because unlike the outside seams, there's no stress on this one, so able to get away with that here. Okay, so the reason that I didn't glue this in here all at once is because I wanted to make sure that it was going to line up and be even here in this clunky, not actually quite a Cylon visor right here. And also down here, I wanted it to rest exactly flush with that so I can just build on top of it and I don't have to conceal something like that because that'd be a nightmare. So I glued that down, waited for it to cool, and then adjusted for my mistake that I made earlier, trying to learn from the previous mistakes and become a better builder, you know? And the black is the new line and the red is seal. What you guys, you're smart, you can figure it out. All right, let's glue it up. For new people to the channel, I keep my glue gun in a little metal container to catch all the drips. And it has the added benefit that I can reuse the hot glue that would otherwise be wasted on seams where it doesn't matter if it's ugly or not. Now it lines up. Let me get a ruler to show that up. There's the CSX really wants some screen time. They better send me some money or something, or offer me free shipping. Yeah, look at that. That is perfectly symmetrical. Yeah, nailed it. See, this is why my voice is always so gravelly when I do the voiceovers at the end of the day, because I've spent the entire day shouting into a camera over the ventilation system. Halls, please sponsor me. I'm attaching the vent details now because that would be infinitely harder to do after the fact. The trade-off here is that this will look incredibly sloppy until, I don't know, the last 10 seconds of the video when I attach the cheekbone plates. They're not totally like 90-degree angles, so I don't know how helpful that's gonna be. But essentially, making these little origami bits for the top of the chin bit, the lower vent frame. I don't know. You know, I gotta make up words for fictional stuff. This is an area where I actually would have liked to have used contact cement, but there is no time. Don't glue the band-aid to the project. Once that was attached, I began fixing the goggle frame, which is just a grueling process. It's not a very convenient angle to work at when you're not cutting onto a hard, flat surface. You know what? I'm gonna work on getting templates in my Etsy store for the people who want to follow along and build this, but I got another projects going on at once right now, so check back in a week from when I posted this. I cleaned this up with my rotary tool and also put a little bit of quick seal in those seams. Then I moved on to the cheekbone armor plates, which was also a nightmare to interpret because I'm working off of 2 reference images. Oh, and the Broken Nerd has a wireframe out right now of his interpretation of those images. So I mean that's helpful. Oh, I'm scoring these lines with an X-Acto knife guided by a metal ruler. Not gonna lie, I totally messed up the first one, so I've got 3 of these things. This video was brought to you by these patrons and my personal army of DRDs. These videos are entirely funded through Patreon, so if you want to help me improve or even maintain the quality of the videos, then you can head on over there to help out the channel. This is just a placement test to see how it lines up. Clearly. Now I'm going to tape all the templates together. In a perfect world, I could just vacuum form a sheet of red plastic over this, but I don't think EVA foam can hold up to that, like, even if I had a totally solid framed interior. So in order to accomplish that in foam, I have to cut panels out of the red roll foam. This thin 2mm craft foam is much more malleable than the thicker stuff, so I don't have to cut darts in it as long as it's only covering one side of the helmet. So like 1/3 of the surface of a rounded object you could get away with. I know it gets repetitive, me constantly talking about the benefits and hazards of using materials such as contact cement, but I have to keep talking about it in every video because I've been doing this for nearly 10 years now, and people still aren't wearing respirators. Like every time it comes up, it's like, oh, I do this in an enclosed space next to a stove with a lit pilot light. So just any time I can say anything regarding safety, like maybe sacrifice the good audio for just the knowledge that you should be wearing a face mask at all times. Like, you know, your health and safety is more important than whether or not you can listen to this with headphones. If I get a respirator, it makes me sound like Darth Vader. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I should do that. You want to evenly apply the glue, and last my glue application is complete. Oh, so now that I know where that's gonna lie, I can just, and actually I do want a little bit of an indent. There are no good shots of the back of this thing as of yet, so no matter what I do, the back is gonna be wrong. In fact, I think that it slopes inward a little bit here. I don't necessarily want to drench this thing in contact cement because I'm filming in here tomorrow. There we go. That's that. Now that seam is covered. So essentially, I'm just going to cut this all into little spaghetti strands, and then hopefully there'll be 14 and I can just cut some of them straight off. But if not, I may just sort of splay it a little bit. Okay, so there's exactly 14, which is perfect. So I'm going to cut the middle ones, and they'll be spread just far enough apart, or I will destroy the entire thing. This ain't the best knife for this. Knife, scissors. 2 knives stuck together make a scissors. 2, 4, 6, 7. This is gonna be a nightmare. I know this is incredibly egotistical and narcissistic. I feel like the production designers are specifically trying to do like an FU to cosplayers with this. Because it is such an obnoxious thing to try and replicate in foam. I'm amazed that worked at all. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. I use masking tape for masking so as not to get paint on the black part. Actually, painter's tape would have been better. I drew a bunch of guidelines onto the dome to help me out when I attach the ridges. This is where the fun begins. Is that too obscure a reference? Not obscure enough. I'm talking to Star Wars fans here. Okay then, game time has started. Perfect. You know what, these ones, I don't really, like I wanted to fold them over. It's not necessary. You just know, there's some production designer at Lucasfilm going, oh, the vents are just stickers. Well, how do you like these vents? The helmet is all vents. Forever and ever vents. Too many vents, too many vents. Takes a lot to make us do. Too many vents. Hey, there's entirely too much footage of me cutting strips of this red. It's taking up too much space. It's not really adding anything, so got rid of that footage. You guys can figure out that, I just cut more strips of red. The longest of those is 14 inches, but that's with a lot of extra flash. Like, this isn't exactly symmetrical or perfect or anything because it's foam, but like my goal is that if you're far enough away from it to see the entire thing, all of the inaccuracies are going to be too low resolution to actually see. That was Matt Jeffrey's rule, and if it was good enough for him, then it's good enough for me. Look at it, it's the mullet trooper. Now you can see that's not perfect, but it'll work good enough for, oh wow, scissors are teetering. Catastrophe averted. Flex Seal is what I would normally use, but it is a higher likelihood of peeling up than even this stuff does. Getting there. If you're building a helmet like from scratch like this, I can't stress enough not to get caught up on making everything perfect to the image you're looking at. These images, they're photoshopped. The images that are out right now, I think that they're from toys, so it's already right there, not real. I'm just trying to create the right amount of space here so that, the black greebly isn't going to look weird. Not too weird anyway. The side greeblies are a little different than on a normal Stormtrooper. They're more angular, essentially, and only have one hole in them. So I made those, and this one little detail in the middle. It's this weird thing that goes in there. So I'm going to glue that on real quick, and you're done. Okay, not quite. You still got to put the visor in there. Looks so good! And that's it. Hey, how about we, try to light this evenly? Yeah! I didn't have time to get the blackout visors in place yet, so I just put it in a temporary mirror visor. And that's how you make a Sith Trooper helmet!
Am I a Star Wars yet?
Why? Why, you don't have to read the comments, Wendy, I do!
So not a Star Wars then?
No, not even. Just watch TNG and you'll get all of my references. You'll speak in my language and we'll be able to communicate. I know it's a lot of homework, but you can do it.
What's TNG?
Oh my god. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra! Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe and check out my previous builds because I have no more money to make videos this month.